Let's dive back in, ladies and gents, to another pitch battle between powerhouses on Grudge Match, the show that weighs the skills and abilities of our favorite characters from DC and Marvel Comics and uses them to hypothesize battles between them to determine who is the dominating presence between the two. Today's match goes after two of the most world-threatening tyrants of their respective universes. From DC Comics, the proprietor of World and galactic bad guy, Mongul, against Marvel's evolutionary enforcer and malevolent mutant mastermind, Apocalypse. Both of these characters hold a strict ideal that the strongest should survive, which Mongul used as the mantra of World, where he pits fighters from across the stars against each other, and Apocalypse exemplifies by believing the fitter Earth species mutants should survive and humans should die. They both also seat themselves at the head of their worlds as complete tyrants because they hold themselves to be the strongest of all and thus most fit to rule with an iron fist. So taking a look at them individually, and starting with Mongul, created first in 1980, he was the monarch of his homeworld until a rebellion broke out and he was exiled from his world into space, but that didn't stop Mongul. He went off into space in search of other worlds to enslave, eventually took over World and pitted aliens against each other gladiator style on this planet, and that's when he came into conflict with Superman, using Superman as one of the gladiators to fight against other aliens on World. Now, Mongul has a wide variety of powers that allow him to stand up to characters of massive ability, such as Superman himself. These include massive strength and virtual invulnerability, a fair amount of energy projection, both shooting energy blasts out of his eyes, as well as having a chest cannon that he has used throughout the years to very good effect to decimate his enemies. He's also displayed some limited telepathy and telekinesis abilities, but for the most part, he's a strong-arm character who uses primarily his strength and invulnerability to just absolutely obliterate his opponents in a physical sense, and this allows him to trade blows with characters like Superman and have occasions where he's able to overpower and defeat Superman himself. But these powers and backstory aren't where Mongul stops. No, he's had several instances of increasing his power and ability by way of technological means and other powers that he's acquired. For instance, he acquired several Yellow Lantern rings when he joined the Sinestro Corps, and he even attempted to usurp the leader, Sinestro, and take over the Sinestro Corps and make them the Mongol Corps instead. And he's fought several times with Sinestro in effort to achieve that end and take over the Sinestro Corps. He was never satisfied with just having one Yellow Lantern ring, and he would kill other Yellow Lanterns, take their rings, and have as many of them as he could to increase his power even beyond that of a normal Yellow Lantern. Also, more recently, he was drafted into the group called the Paling, which was a group that stood opposed to the emotional spectrum wielders, the Green Lanterns, Yellow Lanterns, Red Lanterns, etc., by being emotionless creatures. And they empowered Mongul with their abilities, and this allowed him to even more efficiently take on the Lantern characters of the DC Universe. So all of these powers and abilities and skill sets of Mongul have made him one of the most dominating powerhouses in the DC Universe ever since his inception. Apocalypse of Marvel Comics, first appearing in 1986, has a history within the comics that dates back all the way to ancient Egypt. He was born over 5,000 years ago and is one of the first mutants to ever be born in the Marvel Universe. Throughout his trials and tribulations in ancient Egypt, he came to discover and take over a ship of advanced technology that belonged to the Celestials. The Celestials are a massively powerful race of practically space gods who experiment on lower life forms all over the galaxy, and one of which was Earth and humanity. they conducted several experiments on humanity, not the least of which was implanting the makings of the mutant gene in ancient humans so that at a certain point in human history, the mutant gene would activate and mutants would become a thing on Earth. And they did this because they were running an experiment on evolution to see what would happen if they did this to humanity. If they ended up pitting normal humans against these mutants that they had created, and who would win. And that is what Apocalypse exists to do, basically. That is his life's mission, is to see this experiment of the Celestials played out. He wants evolution to take its natural course, and that being mutants being the most powerful and fittest to survive should kill out the humans and take over the planet. So he has existed for over 5,000 years to further this goal. Now, he's used the technology that he found aboard the Celestial ships to increase and augment his own natural mutant abilities, as well as give him a variety of abilities that he was not actually born with. So it would almost be quicker to list the powers that Apocalypse doesn't have. He has a massive, wide assortment of abilities. These include massive strength and virtual invulnerability, strong enough and powerful enough to take on even the heaviest hitters of the Marvel Universe. He has telepathy and telekinesis. He has energy projection that he can fire out of his hands, out of his eyes, out of virtually any part of his body. He also has complete molecular control of his entire body. And he appears to be wearing armor, but this isn't some static armor that is just hard encasing him and immutable. He can actually control the molecules of the armor and of the body that he has. So he can change his size to giant proportions or really small. He can also change his appearance. He can make himself look totally normal, or he can create weapons out of his body parts. He can heal any kind of injury. It takes a massive amount of damage to injure him, but if he is injured, he can heal it quickly because of this molecular control he has over his body. Now, all of these powers has made him an incredibly potent threat in the Marvel Universe ever since his inception, and he is regarded as one of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe. So having taken a look at the skills and abilities and backstories of these two characters, it's time to determine who would win if they were to ever collide in one-on-one competition. The winner's going to be Apocalypse. Now, both of these characters could trade blows with each other all day. Their massive amounts of strength and invulnerability would allow them to essentially go toe-to-toe with each other. Also, both having the ability to project energy at each other, both having similar levels of telepathy and telekinesis to attack each other's minds, as well as having the requisite shielding of their minds to protect themselves from each other. It seemed like it would be a pitched battle back and forth for quite a bit. The turning point would have to be the abilities that one has that the other doesn't. Apocalypse has his molecular control, which gives him a bit more variety in the kind of attacks he can utilize. It allows him to potentially grow to a greater size than Mongul is, and that could prove to be a turning point in a fight between them. It allows him to create weapons out of his body. It allows him just a greater skill set of attacks that Mongul doesn't have available to him. Additionally, his ability to use that molecular control to heal himself virtually instantaneously from any damage he does receive means that he's going to prove more durable than Mongul would, because while Mongul is very, very tough, and while he does heal quicker than a non-powered being would, he doesn't have the ability to sort of just instantly heal up any damage through molecular control the same way Apocalypse does. Also, Apocalypse has 5,000 years worth of knowledge and skills and experience to draw from, which is longer than Mongul has. No one knows exactly how old Mongul is, but it's believed he's not quite as old as Apocalypse would be. Additionally, Apocalypse has increased his intelligence by way of utilizing the technology in the Celestial ship that he took over, and that level of intelligence is also going to surpass that Mongul has. So, in this match, Apocalypse and Marvel Comics is going to take the win. Message me down below, let me know what you think of the outcome of this fight, as well as, of course, any suggestions for future Grudge matches. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on the next edition of Grudge Match.